Hola clase! In this video, we're going to learn how to make usted commands. They're also called formal commands because we are formal with someone we use usted with. Let's start by talking about what we use command forms are. We have command forms in English too. Sometimes they're called imperatives. You use them to give someone directions or to boss them around or to give them advice. You say things in English like sit down, turn left, write this down, don't eat that. These are all command forms. And now we'll talk about how to make them. Okay, the first step, there is one weird trick that you need here. Don't start with the infinitive. Usually when we're conjugating verbs, we start with the infinitive and chop off the infinitive marker, the AR, ER, or IR. That's not true with command forms. You're going to start with the yo form of the present indicative tense. What's the present indicative tense? That's the one you started learning at the very beginning of Spanish. Stuff like yo hablo, tú bebes, mi perro vive. The regular old normal tense that you've known since the beginning. That's the present indicative. So we'll start with the yo form. Why are we doing this? It's kind of a shortcut, actually. If we do this, we have a teensy-tiny little list of irregular forms to learn for commands. Step one was to start with the yo form, and here's a bunch of them for us. Bailo, como, sigo, which means I follow or I continue. Salgo, conduzco, elijo, which means I choose. Cierro, duermo. So that was step one. We start with the yo form. Step number two, we're going to remove the O from the end. So let's make them go away. When you make these go away, you're not going to have a word left anymore. What I'm leaving for you looks kind of funny and it's kind of hard to say. It's kind of hard to say things like cier or duerm or sig in Spanish. Okay, we have two steps down. Let's go to the next one. Now that we have these forms that don't have an O on the end anymore, what we need to do is add the opposite vowel. What do I mean by opposite vowel? What I mean by opposite vowel is this. Usually AR verbs have an A that pops up somewhere in the endings. It may not be there all the time, but it's there lots of times, just like a theme in a musical composition. And in the same way, ER and IR verbs very often have an E or an I that shows up in their endings. So we're going to pick the opposite vowel, the thing you really don't expect to see. So for AR verbs, we're going to use an E at the end. And for ER and IR verbs, we're going to use an A at the end. So let me sort these out. I'm going to put my ARs over here and my ERs and IRs over here. Looks like I picked a lot of ERs and IRs this time. So to tell someone dance, I'll add the E. Baile. Remember, this is an usted form. I'm being very formal with this person. If I want to tell them to close something, cierre. And over here, siga, which means continue or follow, coma, salga, duerma, elija, choose, or conduzca, drive. All right, let's look at some exceptions. These exceptions might look familiar to you because you learned them for the preterite tense, and we're just going to reuse them. Verbs that end in CAR, GAR, and ZAR have spelling changes. So if I want to say something like practicar, it will look like this, practique. Pagar would look like this, pague. And comenzar would look like this, comience. Remember how I got these? I did the one weird trick. I didn't start with the infinitive. I started with the yo form of the present tense, like practico. I took off the O, and then I added my opposite vowel, which is an E. But remember, CE in Spanish doesn't say que, it says se. That's why I made the change to practique. Because we started with the yo form of the present indicative, we took care of all sorts of weird spelling things and stem changers, and because of that, we have a teensy-tiny little list of irregulars to look at. De, for dar, esté, for estar, vaya, for ir, sepa, for saber, and sea, for ser. Let's try some practice. Command forms are used to boss someone around. Here's some things that I don't want to do. You tell me to do them. Remember the rules. Start with the yo form of the present indicative, chop off the O, add the opposite vowel. Ready to go? Please pause the video if you'd like to have more time. No quiero trabajar, so you tell me to work. Profesora Rodríguez, trabaje. No quiero cocinar. Profesora Rodríguez, cocine. No quiero ser paciente. Por favor, sea paciente. No quiero dormir. Duerma usted. No quiero cerrar la puerta. Cierre la puerta. No quiero estar en clase temprano. Esté en clase un poco temprano, por favor. Okay, now these are things that I want to do. You boss me around and tell me not to do them. Quiero dar mucha tarea a mis estudiantes. No dé mucha. Don't forget the accent. No tengo paciencia con el wifi lento de mi casa. Profesora, tenga paciencia. Quiero conducir una motocicleta. No conduzca una moto. No es buena idea. Quiero almorzar en la cafetería. Por Dios, no almuerce ahí. Quiero practicar más verbos. No practique más, por favor. We'll practice more though in class time. So, what's left for us? Well, ustedes commands. They're super easy. All you have to do is add an N to the usted commands. Reflexive, direct, and indirect object pronouns. That's not so easy. They have some weird little rules, and we'll learn about them in another video on another day. Okay, let's recap. Usted commands are used to persuade, advise, and give directions. They let you be bossy. They're made in an unusual way. Remember, don't start with the infinitive. Start with the yo form of the present tense, chop off the O, add the opposite vowel. And because we have that unusual way of making them, we don't have many irregulars to work with. We'll be working with these a lot more in class over the next couple of days. If you have any questions, let me know. Hasta la próxima!